things never seem to be as good once you get there or get that thing. We call this the arrival fallacy. It's this constant idea that once you get somewhere, get something, get leaner, get more money, get this car, that's going to be the answer. That's the answer you've been looking for. And when you go through this process over and over, and you get to the arrival state, you get this thing or get this body, or as long as it's not an extreme, like if you have no money and you get some money, it's going to put you in a better state. But why do we keep chasing things? Why do we keep wanting things? Once you go through the process enough and you realize that once you arrive somewhere, that it truly was about the process. What's that saying that everybody says? It's about the process. What's about the journey, not the destination? It's true. Yet even though we get to a certain spot, we still want more. You eventually get to a point where you are ultimately present, because you've gotten to a point where you know the process is really where you want to be. You can only get to this spot once you've gone through the process enough times to understand that that is the answer. Because once you get that thing, the chase is over. And then you move on to the next thing. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't chase something, money, cars, whatever, and get leaner. But I think it's important to understand that you should be very present in that moment and not rush the process, because the process is truly what is it's the good part. You're rushing the good part just to get to the end, realizing the end is the end. And then you move on to something different. But you have to go through this a couple times to understand that the process is the best. You're still going to chase something, 100%. But once you're thinking that you want a certain thing, you remind yourself that the process is actually what you like. You have that mindset and you have that wisdom once you've done it enough times. You're not going to understand this in the beginning. You only want that thing, or you want to get to 6-7% body fat. Once you get there, you realize everything else is the same. You're just leaner. If anything, it might be worse, because you're hungry. You can't go off your diet at all, or else your body weight's going to go up. So the process is truly the part that you're going to remember and you're going to want to do again. So try and keep that in your mind. In the beginning, you got to just go through the understanding that you do the process, you get to the end state, and you're like, oh, it's not what I thought it was. You do it again, do it again, do it again. You finally realize at some point that you're able to be present in the process and not rush it, because you know the end goal isn't what it really is. It's not going to give you that fulfillment factor that the process did.